Very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to today's edition of The Agenda. My name is Toivan Jabela, your host. Tonight on the show we are welcoming a new guest who's never been on this platform before but has been very graceful to be on our other platforms. That is Sam Shivute. He is the Commissioner of the Namibia Revenue Agency, Namra, to help us contextualize some of the news that we saw in the course of the week and of course on other issues related to the agency. Mr. Shivute, what a pleasure to have you on the platform.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here and thank you for the invitation.
Wonderful. Let's start with the biggest news this week concerning Namra. It was about the new regime that is about to kick in regarding the importation. As a matter of fact, it's about second-car vehicles transiting Namibia, that they may no longer put their wheels on our on our roads, and that they must be carried on some sort of trailers. If you can give us the rationale about behind that.
Okay, and yeah, no, thank you very much, Toivo. What had happened is that let me first give you the background. About 2012. By that time, Namibia Revenue Agency was not even in existence. The customs have realized that, or got intelligence that there have been a number of syndicates and criminal syndicates that have been importing vehicles. When they get to the border, they will declare that these vehicles are destined for Botswana or Angola or Zambia or Zimbabwe. Now, within the customs processes, there is then that requirement that if the goods are in transit, you do not need to pay customs duties. You do not need to pay even VAT. As a result of that, the vehicles are then allowed to pass through Namibia, and later on, the authorities, that's now customs, the Namibian police, they found out that most of those vehicles ended up being registered at NATIS. Now, already by 2019, there were about 763 of such vehicles. And the customs duty and VAT that the Namibian government have lost as a result of those vehicles, we're talking about more than 100 million. But a decision was then made in 2019 by Cabinet that though the individual, the Namibian who have bought those vehicles unknowingly that those vehicles were illegally imported, they must be helped to get the necessary import documentation, to declare the vehicle and pay the necessary customs duty and VAT, and then they can then properly register their vehicle. That was now a decision that was made in 2019. But what had happened then, a symptom was treated, but the root cause of the symptom was not treated. Now, with Namra being launched on the 7th of April 2021 by His Excellency Dr. Hage Geingob, in about just 3 months after Namra was launched, we start getting intelligence, and of course NATIS as well and Namibian police, we start getting intelligence that there are criminal syndicates who are importing vehicles, declaring that those vehicles are meant for foreign jurisdictions, countries like Botswana, Angola, Zambia, DRC, and so on. And those vehicles eventually ended up being registered here and sold to Namibians who are not suspecting that those vehicles were illegally imported. So what we did then, we then put together a team made of officials from Namibia Revenue Agency, then some officials from NATIS, and officials from the Namibian police, led by Detective Chief Inspector Morgan, who is working at theft of motor vehicle. So we formed a project called NAKURA. NAKURA standing for NAMPOL, Customs and Road Authority. So that project then started doing work in July 2021. Then in August 2021, a criminal case of fraud was then registered as per Windhoek CL 38/008 stroke 2021. So a criminal case of fraud was registered because it was then determined that no, there are many vehicles in this country that are supposed not to be here, or no duties, no customs duty or VAT was paid, but these vehicles are registered and driven by the Namibians. So the project then started working, and they were able to prima facie confirm that 259 of such vehicles were registered in Windhoek without it being properly declared at the border, and no duty or VAT have been paid. But again, we then initially resolved that the project must be focused first in Windhoek, because the vehicles are just too many. Remember I told you that already 2019 there were about 763 vehicles, but eventually those vehicles, duties were paid, and those about the 100 that duty were not paid, we auctioned it. So then with this one, we then noted that we need to be focused here. We need to be focused to determine really what happened here. So some of the vehicles were then detained, and we started detaining those vehicles. When we started detaining these vehicles, before we know it, we even started running out of storage facilities. Yeah. As a result of that, we even resolved then that we are not detaining the vehicles, but what need to be done is that those vehicles must be marked at notice, and the owner must be called so that they can come. The owner, those are now the owner in whose name the vehicle has been registered, so that they can then pay the necessary duty, so that they can give a statement under oath as to what happened and so on. So you have a criminal investigation going on, but you also have an administrative investigation to determine what really happened. Then at the end of the day, what we have really found out is that the majority of the people, especially innocent Namibian who have bought those vehicles, this is just someone who wanted to buy his Golf or his Toyota, and most of those vehicles, when they are when you buy it, it's registered. It's a Namibia registered vehicle. So we also then found out that initially there was a criminal syndicate comprised of foreign nationals. But of course, you also have Namibian criminals who are also involved in that. So, Toivo, what is happening here is that a vehicle would come from UK or from Japan or from wherever, those second-hand vehicle. In Walvis Bay or at any other border, it's then declared that it's going outside Namibia, and as a result of that, there is no need to pay customs or VAT, import VAT. But then what then happened, this criminal syndicate, they mastered a system where they are forging the SAD 500. What is SAD 500? The Custom and Excise Act number 20 of 1998, Section 14 provides that any goods that anyone is bringing into this country must be declared. So now we then have that SAD 500 is a document called Single Administrative Document. It's a custom declaration document where you have to get all the details, information, value, and where the goods is coming from. So this criminal syndicate, they then started forging this customs document. That's number one. Then they are also able to forge the import document, because you also need an import document from the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade. Then they also managed to forge the SAPCO. SAPCO, when you buy, if a vehicle is bought from other SACU member states, South Africa, Lesotho, Botswana, and so on, there is a need to have a SAPCO clearance certificate. They forge that one as well. Then you would find on some of the police clearance are written from police clearance books that are reported stolen from the Namibian police, and some are forged in such a way that it really look authentic. Now, with all this forged document, this agent or this criminal syndicate, they are then able to say, oh, Toivo will be able to sell you this car, and all you need to bring us is to bring us your driver's license, your ID, and we will even make sure that the vehicle is registered. So you then have a lot of innocent Namibians And of course, in Windhoek, we know that it's more than 300 cases, but we have not even gone to the region. Why we have not even gone to the regions is because it requires a lot of work to do that investigation, and Namra and the Namibia police, we also have other work to do. And this was a work that just started, again, like I say, in July 2021. The investigation is still continuing. Yeah. The good news is that 3 suspects have been arrested on that criminal case that I just shared with you. And also now we have also facilitated a process where we are then saying those Namibians, because those Namibians who have bought those vehicles, because it's not their fault, and we were able through a proper investigation to determine that it was not their fault, they are not part of that syndicate. Yeah. What the process that has been put in place now is that they will then need to obtain the import document. They will then need to declare the vehicle with Namra. Then, of course, then the police will issue them with a police clearance. Yeah. Then there is another document, there is another waiver that is given by the Ministry of Work and Transport, because some of those vehicles, depending on their age, they are not allowed to be registered here. And there is also a requirement sometime that you needed to get a document from, let's say the vehicle, majority of vehicles are supposed to come from Botswana. But because this vehicle have never been in Botswana, there is no way you can get that vehicle. Get that document in Botswana. So the Ministry of Works and Transport, legally they are empowered to waiver that as well. So when you have then paid your customs duty, your duties, your VAT, you have import document, you get a custom clearance, then you can then register your vehicle properly. It will cost in average, what I'm seeing when I looked at the number, when I look at the number, in average, you need 22 to 25,000 to have paid for all those. But the good news is that at least out of those 259 cases, which is only Windhoek based, from December we have seen 24 Namibians have paid to get their vehicles, and we have collected about 500,000 already in that. But the total amount for those 259 vehicles, the amount that ought to have gone to the state is 12 million. So you can just imagine these 12 millions could have been used to buy medication. These 12 millions could have been used to buy chairs for the schools and so on. And so that is a situation we are, and we are here to save this country.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, the logic around carrying these vehicles on trailers, what is the thinking there? In what way does it help you as Namra?
Okay, I'll tell you in what way does it help us as Namra. You may have seen that our vision is to become a world-class revenue agency, serving with passion to positively impact the livelihood of every Namibian. Yeah. Now, if you want to become world-class, you need to be able to adopt international best practices. Now, again, you are saying you have a consignment of 10, 20 vehicles and so on. We have seen that now over the past 10 years, this problem of those vehicles coming in and they are being driven on our road, truth be told, most of those vehicles do not go to where they intended to go. So what we have seen with other world-class revenue agencies, what they do, and this is very much within the law. Yeah. They say if a vehicle is not coming into your country, then let it be carried on a car carrier. And when you do that, you remember, because this vehicle also supposed to pay environmental duty. So you are not polluting your environment, number one. The risk of the vehicle being diverted, you have eliminated the risk of the vehicle being diverted. And also, most of other world-class revenue agencies, including South Africa, our neighbor, Zambia, and others are doing it. Remember, we are the youngest revenue agency in in Africa, and therefore others already started doing this thing many years ago, and they are able to save a lot of money. So it's going to help Namibia. And again, but there was also a lot of confusion. There was a lot of confusion because yesterday, for example, one politician called me, and I want to thank him, and I appreciate the politician when they hear people creating narratives in social medias
Yeah.
or at bars, instead of just forming an assumption and start trying to attack Namra and thinking Namra is not. Namra is here to serve the people. It's important for everyone who do not understand to clarify and to understand the context and the rationale. So some people are confusing this to say, oh, what about if it's a Namibian who just want to buy their vehicle from South Africa or Botswana to come and sell? So we never say people cannot import. We are saying the vehicle in transit. And we do not have a record of Namibians buying vehicles from South Africa to sell in Zambia, Angola, and so on.
Yeah.
Mostly a Namibian who would want to buy a vehicle, they will buy a vehicle to come and sell here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that business, if they want to buy their donkey Botswana or whatever, they can still buy. They do proper declaration and they come and sell, and the vehicle do not need to be on the carrier. But if they get their vehicle from Botswana and they are saying, oh, this vehicle are meant for the South African market, for DLC, we are saying, let it be done as it's done in other jurisdictions who do not want to compromise on their revenue collection.
Yeah. One of the examples given, I suppose, with carrying these vehicles on trailers, is that they fear that there's an economic knock for Namibia. People saying, for example, if that car was bought in South Africa and is going to Angola, being driven on Namibian roads would have meant that, it fills up fuel-wise at the number of fuel stations along the way, and therefore supporting the economy in that sense. How do you weigh these two things now to say, do you compromise and sacrifice that benefit in favor of what benefit?
Okay. That narrative, whoever is pushing that narrative that, oh, the car, when it goes through Namibia, it will be filled up and petrol will be filled and so on. Again, that narrative is based on assumption, because we are a data-driven organization. We work in accordance with data. We are here to confirm that we know that majority of those vehicles that are declared that they are going to the Botswana market, most of them they don't end up there, they end up here. And arrangements are then made so that at the end of the day, forged documents are presented as if this document have been in Botswana for about 2 years and so on. And at the end of the day, it's Namibia that has been losing, and the records are there. Again, like I said, this matter, even 2019, our cabinet was seized with this matter. By that time, they had about 763 vehicles. But this vehicle is only vehicle that have been detected and seized. What about those that have not been detected and seized? The number that I just gave you here, because of our capacity and resources, and we also need to be focused, because our focus is not just on customs, VAT and so on. We are building an institution here, but just this pilot where you have a very limited number of officials from Namibian police, I think we only have about 3 colleagues who are working on that case, and Namra then, and already you have 12 million just forgone like that. But the danger here as well, why this matter have to be addressed, is that I have seen people who have been saving for 5 to 6 years just to buy their vehicles, because most of these vehicles are bought cash. Just imagine some people, they got their pension and they take 150 to 200 or 100,000 or just to buy, or some people are saving. And now you buy this vehicle, which vehicle is illegally imported and not registered with a GINAN document. And remember the law, the Criminal Procedure Act is very clear that if the goods that you are found with in the possession, it's used into a criminal activity, it can be seized. So you have a Criminal Procedure Act. Then here you also have a Customs Act that requires that goods like that must be seized, and if payments are not done within a prescribed period, it can even be forfeited to the state. But we because we want to save with passion, and we also care for the Namibian people.
Yeah.
If we wanted to be very, very strict, most of those vehicles legally, after 90 days, they could even be forfeited to the state.
Yeah.
But we are saying, this time around, we are saying, unlike what happened where people just focus and say people must pay in 2019, we are saying, this time around, let's get to the root cause of this case. Who are the syndicates? And I'm happy that 3 of the suspects have been arrested.
Yeah.
But that is not only them. Because again, as I say, we still need to find out how many of such cases has been registered at different NATI's office in Walvisbay, in Oshakati, in Enana, in Kietmans, in Omaheke, and there are so many. But what the Namibian people need to understand, when they hear news like this, instead of just wanting to fall for false narrative and criticize Namra, which is there to serve for the best interests of Namibian, they must rather commend those detectives from the Namibian police, their colleagues from Road Authority, and my colleagues from Namra who are not sleeping working on this case so that our country can get what is due. Because like here, environmental levy was never paid, VAT was never paid, customs duty was never paid, ad valorem excise duty was never paid, and that is the amount, or the VAT come directly to us. The customs duty, we need to contribute that to the SACCO pool, and it's from the SACCO pool that we get our share on a quarterly basis. And we as Namibian, we do know that in the SACCO pool, we get more than what we put in, and we need to do our part.
I understand. Thank you very much, Sam. We go for a quick break and then return for the second part of the show.
NMH at 1 brings you news from all corners of Namibia. NMH at 1 aims to reach viewers countrywide who are interested in current affairs in a short and sweet format. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: The Republican, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, Namibia Media Holdings, Irongo, and Vindic Express. To share your news or advertise on this platform, contact NMH1 at synergy.com.na. NMH at 1, your lunchtime news companion.
Flex is a health and fitness show that focuses on mind, body, and spirit. Flex aims to reach all audiences that would love to focus on the health of the mind, body, and spirit. The show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: The Republican, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, Namibia Media Holdings, Sports Rep, Irongo, My Zone, We, and Ewi. Flex focuses on daily fitness, where we will be flexing our muscles, wellness interviews where we will be flexing our mind. For editorial and advertising queries, please contact zone@synergy.com.na.
Tourismus Namibia is a weekly tourism show that brings you the latest news in the tourism industry and topics related to that. Tourismus aims at reaching travelers, accommodation, restaurant establishments, agricultural and financial institutions. The show focuses on tourism news, where to travel to fit your budget, 4x4 drives, routes and destinations, and so much more. Tourismus is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: The Republican, Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun, and Namibia Media Holdings. Contact tourismus@synergy.com.na for news and advertising related queries. Tourismus, bringing the world to Namibia.
We continue our conversation with Sam Shivute. Now, Sam, in the mid-term budget of Minister Shimi, was it in October last year or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually highlighted a very huge revenue that came into state coffers through Namra, through tax collections. Is that now, are we starting to see the manifestation of the creation of this institution?
Oh yeah, definitely. But we haven't yet started. We haven't yet started. But of course, we have developed a compliance and enforcement strategy because we have said it before. The tax compliance culture or tax morale in Namibia is very low. We needed a very robust compliance strategy. We need to make sure that we have the relevant skills and capacity. For example, in the past, both in customs and in IRD, Inland Revenue Department, we have never had a chartered accountant. But we have gone now to the extent even of having a transfer pricing specialist. This country, Namibia, we passed our transfer pricing law in 2005. And up to today, we have not collected revenue from a transfer pricing cases. But what we have seen from other jurisdictions like Kenya, South Africa, Zambia, those countries that have passed the law like we did in 2005 and really implemented that, we have seen some of them really the number of revenue that they are collecting. The good news is that at least now we are really getting some great technical support from our developmental partners.
Yeah.
We appreciate the political support that we are receiving, especially from the president, the minister of finance, and other political leaders. But I just hope, because this job, you cannot be successful if you do not have a political support, if you do not have stakeholder support. So what the Honorable Minister of Finance declared or stated, that is really the truth, and I'm very happy. You may also have heard that the target was even adjusted with an additional 4 billion, and I'm very happy that I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It was yesterday that I sent the minister the monthly monthly revenue performance report, and despite the adjusted revenue, I could already see with 2 months to go, we have already hit about 98% of the adjusted target. So I will not mention the numbers because let me leave that to the Minister of Finance. I think he will be making his announcement on the 24th of February. But we are very, very happy. But truth be told, we have not yet started because we are still just dealing with the foundational basic building blocks because we are still recruiting. Our system are not yet where they're supposed to be. The processes have not yet been finalized. The building of the culture that we want is not yet completed. The recruitment process, last year in a period of 12 months, we recruited 950 employees. Been busy because you are recruiting, then here you have to educate the public. You need to engage your stakeholder in the media. You need to work with your developmental partners. And you have to write processes. You have to, SCUDA have to be upgraded. The ITAS need to be brought to the world-class level. It's not yet there. And you have to build this new culture of professionalism, of branding, making orange, you understand, inspiring and all these things. And so I think if the Namibian continue supporting this institution, this institution, and I always remember, our president have always advised us, we need to build strong institution, we need to respect, we must have system and processes and respect that, the governance of that. And if we do that and we make sure that your institutions like Namra, your ACC, the police, the judicial, the FIC, now we are seeing great results. We are seeing great results especially with our collaboration with FIC. If you speak to them or you speak to them, they will tell you. Toivo, there used to be this case in Namibia. We do know that there is no law in Namibia that say you can trade in cash. You can have cash, you can have $1 million.
Yeah.
And we have cases in the past where a business personality you will find with cash, $1 million and so on. But because there is no specific law that say you cannot trade in cash, I hope in the future we need to have those laws that say trade, maybe limit the cash, and also you must issue an invoice, a proper invoice, you must have a proper electronic cash register and so on. But one of our colleagues, one of our investigator and one of our tax auditors, we came up with a solution. What we do now, if we get a tip off and we hear that Toivo, in your business you have so much million or cash, so Namra will get there together with the Namibian police and customs, and we will get to a place and we will get our hands to that money. Then we make contact because we want to encourage the collaboration between law enforcement. Then, even though there is no law that say you cannot have this cash, the Financial Intelligence Act does require that if you have a suspicious amount, you must be able to prove as to what is the source of that money. Of course, you will then be able to tell FIC and to tell us and say that, no, this money came as a result of my business because I'm selling this product and so on. Then it's okay, so you say the money, 1.2 or 2 million, it came from your business. Then we then check, okay, how much do you pay? How much do you declare with the tax office as your, how much do you declare? Then we also have access to the bank account of each and every Namibian. The law does give us power to get to the account or to get the details of each and every person operating in Namibia. So we check, we go to your account, we check how much money have come in, we check at this, we check at the amount that you were found with. And because FIC or Financial Intelligence Act requires that the money can be frozen for about 14 days. We then do an assessment, a tax assessment. And if we found out that if we found out that you owe, and most probably you owe because most people, they do trade, they make business, but most people, they declare something like, they will declare zero, or that they are making losses. So the solution that we have found, and it have really started working very well from December, when we do then a tax assessment and you deposit this money, then we issue a notice to agent to the bank, so that this money can be transferred to the state. So and all these efforts, and we have many similar cases starting as of December. We are very happy. So in the past, because the law enforcement unit, people were working in silos. And now there's really a leadership that encourage these law enforcement agencies, they have to collaborate. Wonderful. They need to work together. If your law does not cover this, you check at the Exchange Act law, Financial Intelligence Act, you check at POCA and so on.
Wonderful. So, you know, I saw someone commenting on social media this week, I think in light of this vehicle transit regime, saying Sam Shivute used to be this motivational guy. You know, he spoke to crowds of people, be unlimited. But the Sam Shivute that we see now is a very new capitalist version of him. Of course, we know that you did these things in your personal capacity, but now you have a mandate, almost a state mandate, if I may say. But how do you answer to that?
Thank you, Toivo, for posing that question. I'm a founder of the brand called Be Unlimited. It's patent with BIPA, Be Unlimited. And I have, since I became a mind power practitioner, I believe very strongly in the concept of Be Unlimited, because we have always argued and advised people that we are unlimited beings, limited only by the concept of limitation that we place in our mind. I have seen people thinking that because they do not have a specific qualification, they may not achieve this. Do you understand? And sometimes you may want to ask people and say, how many millionaires that you know who are perhaps maybe PhD holders? Do you understand?
Yeah, yeah.
But we do know also of millionaires who do not even have an academic qualification. There was a thinking in the past, people thinking that people are defined from where they come from. Maybe if you come from this family that's not a prominent family, you will just end up like your ancestors and so on, which is not true. We have found that the only thing that limit people is the limitation that we place in our mind. Now, people must not confuse the teaching of the Be Unlimited philosophy with the mandate, the professional mandate that I have. When we tell people that you must be unlimited, we are not saying the Be Unlimited is not associated with any criminal activity.
Yeah.
When we say you must be unlimited, the unlimitation that we are referring to is the limitation of your brain cells, your mind, your thinking capacity, because you can achieve whatever you set out to achieve. And I've spaced a lot of things, and there's scientific proof to that.
Yeah.
However, this Be Unlimited brand, it does not say, no, if you want to steal, you must be unlimited, you must steal. It's not associated with anything that is immoral. It's not associated with anything which is against the law.
Yeah.
It's not associated with anything which is ethical or lawful. The Be Unlimited is associated with your thinking that where you are now, it's not necessarily where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And depending on you utilizing your brain power, engaging with the universe, understanding that the universe is always there conspiring to give you what you desire, depending that you are able to control the energy and connect with the universe. That is the Be Unlimited that I have patented and that I own until today, and I will own it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Now, when I was appointed as a commissioner of Namibia Revenue Agency, I was given a set of 9 pieces of registration, the laws that have to be implemented. But also, anyone who say the same Shivute that they are seeing now is not the same Shivute that they were used to, then they do not know me. Yeah. Because when you look, I spent this year is my 28th year of public service. My 28 years have always been about serving the public. My first 8 years, my formative first 8 years, my work was to maintain law and order and investigate crimes. So when there is a law that required to be implemented, that's what I used to do in the Namibian police. When the conflict broke out in East Timor, 1999, and there was conflict, and the United Nations needed men and women from different countries to come and serve in the service of peace and help the people of East Timor to maintain order, to build their police and other institutions, I was called. I spent 2 years there serving in the service of peace, maintaining law and order, ensuring that the criminals are dealt with. When I was in the Namibian police here as well, I was making sure that crimes are investigated, criminals are locked up, the law is maintained. Are you getting? So the police, it was maintaining law and order, investigation as a detective. UN, 2 years in East Timor, I was serving in the service of peace, maintaining law and order. I went there in 20 May 2000. And I only left on the 20th of May 2002, the day East Timor got their independence. When we got a guarantee that they got their independence and we have done what we did, is the day I flew out to come to serve Namibia. Coming back to Namibia, when I joined the Bank of Namibia, what was my first job? you would remember that there was money that was stolen from Bank of Namibia in March, I think 29th of March, 2002. As a result of that, I was recruited to take care of security. Initially, what was my responsibility? To make sure that the billions of dollars kept by the bank are protected and are not stolen. The people working for the bank are provided with security and also the information in the system. I did that work for 8 years. And out of those 8 years, not a single 5 cent was stolen. So that Sam Shivute that implement the process, that enforce the procedures and the policy and the law, was still the one who did that work for Bank of Namibia. After that, my last 10 years was again to be the banker to the Namibian government as a director of banking services. My work was again to make sure that we have sufficient stock of currency in the country. My work as a director was also to make sure that the security, because the head of security reported to me that the bank's money is secured. I was enforcing the law. Then so the past 28, my professional role have always been about maintaining law and order, enforcing the law, and in all those 28, I have done my work to the best of my ability. I spent 7 years studying the law so that you understand the law and understand what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that in those 28 years, I have not been subjected to a verbal warning, to a written warning, to a suspension up to today.
Yeah.
And therefore, the same Shivute professionally, the person who say is not what they see, they do not know me. Because many people here, they think they know us, they do not know me.
Yes.
This have nothing to do with the Sam Shivute, the founder of the Be Unlimited and a Night of Inspiration. My book club or my Be Unlimited book club activity, I still do it on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
But if you, now, we at Namra, we are required to implement, to enforce customs and or revenue laws,
Yes.
to collect revenue for the benefit of the Namibian people.
Yes.
Now, if I was a capitalist,
Yeah.
if I was in this job, if I was a capitalist, I would not be working for a public institution. I would rather be working in the private sector or working for international organizations, because I've done that before.
Yeah.
In this job, we are here only to serve with passion. Many people may not see what we are trying to achieve.
Yeah.
But in the future, when they see our grandchildren and their grandchildren, when later on they get the testimony of their grandmothers telling them that they have never missed a social grant on a monthly basis,
Yes.
when later they see that the reason why this government was able to have sufficient oxygen and vaccine without borrowing is as a result of the work that the revenue that we are collecting.
Yes.
We can be, they are going to thank Namra later when their mind are eventually open and understand that we are only here to serve Namibia for the best interest of Namibia and to serve with passion.
Absolutely. We return for the last part of the show in a short while.
Ohole So Nice is an entertainment show brought to you by the youth for the youth, aimed at having more young people showcase their individual identities. Making a good impression does not come easy. The nerves and the natural way youth interact when it comes to dating, well, this has changed over the years. This is a dating show that allows individuals to participate and be their own true selves. Ohole So Nice focuses on blind date, talk about that, news, flex your style, and more. This show is broadcasted on NTV, 1up2.com, and on the MyZone Facebook platform. To share your experience or make your product or service part of Ohole So Nice, contact Zone at synergy.com.na. Ohole So Nice, because Sabawelling isn't enough.
We have ended the last part of the show with Sam Shivute. Sam, you briefly alluded to these laws that empowers Namra to collect money from people's accounts. It was actually in the papers not too long ago. What does that mean? It's so scary.
Yeah, what does that mean is that if you owe the state, as a result of your unpaid taxes, what does that mean is that Namra can issue a notice to agent in terms of Section 91 to a commercial bank or to your employer or to anyone to whom you have rendered services and that person is supposed to pay. Yeah. And that person, be it your employer or the person to whom you have rendered services or the commercial bank, would be required to pay that specified amount of money to the state. Mm-hmm. And if you fail to do that, then the manager or the CEO or the person responsible for that company or who refused to pay over that money would be required will be held liable in their personal capacity. But I must also make it clear, this law is a universal law. It's not only here in Namibia. It's with any other tax authority. But the good news is that in Namibia, this year, we have developed guidelines as to how the notice to agent or how Namra can exercise that power. So we have built in the provision of administrative justice within the process and guidelines, because you do not want to shock people. Yeah. You do not want Toivo wake up and only to hear that his money was paid over. He did not get his salary, the money was paid over to the state via Namra. So we have put up guidelines where we are saying a person must be, a debtor must be informed. There must be the first demand notification, then the first demand letter, then the final demand letter. And we are also saying that we want to use that as a last resort. There have been people, especially in this country, who over the past 30 years, some people thought that they are untouchable. The people, they will be called by the office or official, the tax officer or the auditor, to come and make payment arrangement, and they will rather just call some powerful people or maybe the head. So we are saying we are doing away with that. So if you think you are untouchable and you do not want to comply by making an arrangement, then we will have to apply the law. But at least we have put in guidelines so that the power is not abused in terms of implementing that section, so that it must really be the final result, the result. However, and this is with regard to tax debt. However, you have other cases where people really commit fraud, especially those people who are stealing or getting fraudulent refund, be it VAT or income tax, or you are just committing fraud and steal from taxpayer money that have been collected, and you just work with other corrupt officials and you steal. In that case, if you tell a criminal and say, oh no, I'm going to come to your account to take money, a criminal will transfer the money or make arrangement. In that case, a criminal will have to be dealt with like a criminal. But if you just owe, you have not paid, you owe the tax debt and so on. We are saying, and the message, and I was engaging some stakeholders in the north, and we are telling them, people need to understand that Namra is here to improve service delivery. Namra is here to build a good relationship with all taxpayers. Namra does not want to see a business or someone going down as a result of your tax affair. But we are saying, if you have a debt and the debt have been proven, make an arrangement to pay. But in case if you also maybe you have made an arrangement and during that month you did not work, there is no money, then communicate, give proof that you did not make any money. So we want to, we even want to see more business succeeding. But if you steal from the government through taxes, a criminal have to be dealt the way criminals have to be dealt. We will get your bank and take the money.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The lifestyle audits, does it fall under your mandate as Namra?
Okay, it depends what you mean by lifestyle audit. When we have a situation in Namibia whereby sometime information are submitted to, let's say maybe to Financial Intelligence Center, because they do have the power to receive suspicious financial transaction. And those cases have been submitted to Namra. Yes, and once they are submitted, we have started with investigation, we have started with audit. Very soon, a time will come. It's only that we are bound by confidentiality clauses in our law. We are not allowed to go there and say, no, we are investigating Master Jambela or Master A, unless if the matter ended up in court.
Yeah.
Then we will then be able to talk about you when the matter ended up in court. Yes, those who have been reported, because we're working very closely with FIC. FIC, all the commercial banks, they are required to report suspicious transaction to FIC. FIC is reporting those cases to us, and we are working very close together with FIC. And also, we also have a tax evasion investigation unit of the police that are also attached to Namra.
Yeah.
And we have recruited about 45, and we will still recruit more auditors. Now capacity is there, it's not yet enough, and very soon you will hear those whom you suspect they may be suspected. If you speak to them, they will tell you, Namra is on my case, I'm paying my due. It's only that I cannot be the one to tell you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
As we draw to the close of this conversation, Sam, if you can give me a quick, bring me up to speed with regard to these people who had, there were some fraudulent activities detected at Namra. Some of your officials were sort of, I think, suspended and whatnot. Where do we stand?
Okay. Where we stand with that case is that the number just continued increasing. Remember, we started first with about only 15 million, and I think there was only 7 institutions involved. As I'm talking to you now, the institutions that are involved, we are talking about more than 56 institutions. Here we are talking about different government ministries, you're talking about different private sectors. Then the number of individuals involved as well is getting closer to 1,000. Then the total amount that we have conclusively, where we know that this money was stolen from government, and this is the money that ought to have been used to buy the medicine and to build school. What I know now is 136 million, but that amount, as the investigation continues, it will go up to close to 400 million. I'm aware, 100% aware of that. But what people need to know, this is just the fraudulent within income tax. And income tax, when you look at income tax refund, it only make up 5% of the total refund that we pay, because 95% of our refunds is in VAT. And we do refund between 6 to 7 billion on an annual basis. So when we start with VAT investigation, and we are putting together a team to start with that fraud, especially in the area of VAT, it's going to go into billions, no doubt about that. Yeah. So on this case, we are making progress. More than 50 cases has been reported with the Namibian police. And in this case, Toivo, you go to one school, at one school, for example, and from a hygiene officer to the principal, everyone at that school get refund on an annual basis. And here you are talking about people getting between 100,000 to 600,000, money that they're supposed not to get. I'm very happy with those who gave us the intelligence. I'm very happy with my team that is not sleeping, doing investigation on this matter. It's a lot of work, and we just need more support. And again, as I say, if Namra continue doing what it's supposed to do, and we just close these loopholes, the leakages in terms of fraudulent refunds, tax evasion, Namibia will not need to borrow for its developmental agenda. If we can just do what we're supposed to do, then the future look very, very bright.
Absolutely. The last question, in 30 seconds, if you can sum it up for me. You are in this very difficult, you operate from a very difficult position. You, by virtue just of what you do, by default, you make a lot of enemies. People just, and I see it all the time on social media, people having all sorts of things to say about you. Does that shake you? Is Sam Shivute still determined to carry this mandate, this very important mandate, or is he shaken now?
No, Sam Shivute will never be shaken. I took this job by choice. I gave up a very lucrative position and job from Bank of Namibia. I took this job by choice to serve Namibia for the best interest of Namibia. The good news is that Sam Shivute will never be shaken. When I worked in the police, I put my life online for this country. When the UN wanted people to go in East Timor and there was a conflict by that, not only that there was a conflict and militia killing people, there was also Ndenge killing people. I put my life online to go and serve in the service of peace. My 28 years of service, it have always been about service and serving for the best interest of Namibia. So you may have seen by now, I took this job by choice. I am never shaken, I will not be shaken, and I don't focus on those negativity, and I'm also not into a popularity contest. That's why you don't see me responding to all those negative comments or insults on social media. In actual fact, I don't even read them. And I always tell also people that knows me, even if you see, don't forward it to me, because my focus is is serving in the best interest of Namibia. My focus is when Namibia start enjoying the fruits that they are going to enjoy as a result of Namra having delivered on this mandate.
Absolutely. Sam, always a pleasure having you, my brother.
Thank you, my brother.
That was Sam Shivute sharing with us the progress being made by Namra and also a number of laws that all of us must abide to for the sake of our country. Good night.